the Business Whisperer podcast.
Come and explore the ins and outs of running a successful business.
We'll discuss all things business related, staff management,
business intelligence,
nearshoring,
operations,
and the latest topics in business development.
Let's dive into the day-to-day ordeals of business management.
Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just starting out, this podcast is for you. Welcome to the Business Whisperer podcast with Zuly Murphy
and Miriam Sanchez.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the Business Whisperer podcast. Here with me today is Zuly Murphy. Hi, Zuly. How are you today?
Hi, Miriam. I'm doing great. This is exciting. We were talking a lot about doing a podcast. Finally, we just got to it. So I'm very happy.
Yes, after a lot of planning and a lot of postponing, we finally got to make this a reality. And well, I think the first topic that we chose for this podcast is actually really interesting and one that people may not think would be an opening for the Business Whisperer podcast. But we do work in a very special industry, right?
Yes.
And I don't know if it has happened to you, Zuly, but I have tried so many times to explain my family and friends what is it that we do. And this gave us like the idea of, you know what, let's explain what is it that we do in a podcast. Why not? And then people can understand better the possibilities, the great and wide range of possibilities that we offer and that they are available out there, not just with us, but in general in the world, because it's getting a big, great shift, right, in the way of making business nowadays. So my question to you, Zuly, because you are the expert on this one, what is nearshoring?
That's a great question. And yes, it happens to me all the time. Whenever somebody that I know asks me, what are you up to? The answer is nearshoring, and their faces go like, what? So, nearshoring, what is it? Well, technically, if you were going to look the nearshoring term in a dictionary, it will tell you that it's this practice where you outsource business processes, and it could be many different kinds, but we'll go there, to a nearby country with a similar time zone and some cultural affinities. So, and there's other options that companies have. Nearshoring is what we do, but there's offshoring, which is to send some processes to a more, distant location, often across different time zones and cultural contexts that are very different. And basically, this all started long time ago, and it was with manufacturing. So manufacturing was one of these companies that did manufacturing is starting to look for places where the regulations, the labor costs, the material costs would be accessible. And they started to say, well, you know what, let's go to the other side of the world and let's go to Asia and let's go to one of those countries over there where they can offer, to complete part of a product and to use them raw materials. And that's how this started, right? Companies saw that this was a great way of saving money and to saving problems too, with the regulations of some government. And then I think that concept evolved to some call centers, where it's like, okay, like in order to find a larger pool of people that would be interested in working, let's just go to Pakistan, Afghanistan, and that's how it started. I remember at the beginning of that process, there were a lot of complaints. It's like, hey, am I talking to somebody this country? And this happened to many companies everywhere in the world. So that was another attempt of doing, of getting the advantages, not just for the manufacturing, but for as well the service providing. And it is a little bit more difficult. Why? Because they're further away, time zones are not very similar, so you would just be requesting somebody to be answering phone calls in the middle of the night and do that consistently. So obviously that was going to be a struggle. Now, coming into a more nowadays, like recent times, after the pandemic, actually, no, it was in 2019, so it was a little bit before the pandemic happened. Uh, the pricing, even for manufacturing in Asia, was super high. It increased 5.5 times. So a lot of companies are starting to think about nearshoring manufacturing processes, and Mexico and other countries in Latin America got the spotlight. Now, nearshoring is not just for manufacturing purposes, it's actually for service providing, and it's very popular for software development. There was one time in the world time where there was an outage of software developers in the US. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
And the US software development companies were really struggling filling their positions in the software development world. So they started to look for other possibilities. And well, in Latin America, there's a lot of really good quality people that could actually go into those organizations. So then that came down here first, the software development part of it. I know that right now there's a lot of like layoffs in that industry. And I think it has to do because everybody overstaffed. When everybody was in the pandemic, you would use your computer even more. You would be buying Amazon all the time. I think we still do. I do. I wish I will disconnect my account sometime because it's getting out of control. But I mean, nearshoring is a great solution for other companies besides software development or manufacturing.
Right. And every day, like we see more of this, especially down here in Mexico. We're based in Mexico right now.
Hmm.
And if, for example, in the city that we live in, 10 years ago maybe,
Hmm.
all of the business that we had down here was business related. I mean, tourism related, right? So
Yes.
we live in a touristic city, Puerto Vallarta, so it's a very nice place. But the main economical activity was tourism, hotels, restaurants, etc. And little by little, we have been seeing every time more and more this industry of the nearshoring developing in the area. So now the community here doesn't depend 100% on tourism, but now there are these options of having a job for a good company, a good North American company, from the beautiful place that you live in, in the beach here in Puerto Vallarta. So it is a field that is growing. It is growing rapidly, and I think here in Mexico we have a lot of talent for the
Yes.
different businesses that can benefit from this option, right? So, like you mentioned, it's not just for manufacturing, because a lot of times people have a hard time understanding that it's not just for making products like, I don't know, tennis shoes or clothes or something. It's also for the service industry, right?
Mhm.
Could you give us like an example or mention some of the businesses that um, have been in this adventure of having a nearshore operation down here? What kind of businesses are there, and who is this possibility for?
Yes, you said it right. One of the things that I like the most about nearshoring is that during the pandemic, it actually helped a lot of families to go through that very difficult time of humanity, right? Where basically hotels were shut down, just like a lot of other businesses, but really the touristic industry was down, right? Nobody was traveling, nobody could travel, and it felt really good when we were able to employ people and support more than 30 families from a nearshoring operation. And I think that is one of the greatest things. In Puerto Vallarta, especially, it's a resort town. If the people that are listening to this podcast have not been in Puerto Vallarta, please take a vacation down here. You will love it. It's paradise. It's a gem. I think for a long time it was not as popular as other destinations in Mexico, and now it's becoming the premier destination, and it's fantastic. The culture here is a lot about customer service. We are known in the world as a customer service hub. Like, and when you travel and you actually was raised in Vallarta, you have been living here for a long time. When you go other places, you start to understand that the customer service is not everywhere. There are cities that are super touristic, they're great, but they don't have what we have down here. And every place is beautiful, but the customer service culture that we have here, it's incredible. It's like, I think, in our genes already. So, and very, the greatest part of it is not only, well, there's many benefits only, honestly. I'm gonna give Puerto Vallarta credit for that because the proximity. We're connected with every main city in North America, like any. There's probably, just so you have an idea, there's probably five or two, no, 4 to 5 direct flights to Toronto every day. We have flights to Dallas, Texas. We have to Denver, Colorado. We have many flights everywhere. We should put up a map in the next episode or so. And I'm promoting Vallarta because it's beautiful. You should come down here. So, the proximity, the time zones. Puerto Vallarta is Central Time that allows perfectly to serve people that are in Eastern Time, Pacific Time, Mountain Time, or Central Time. So
Yeah, that's right.
it works really well for that. And then I think this one is very important. You can find people that are bilingual, but as well bicultural. Puerto Vallarta in Mexico is so close to the US and Canada that we actually grow up understanding the culture, right? Like, we celebrate Halloween, we understand Santa Claus, we understand a lot of the cultural elements because in Puerto Vallarta we have a great amount of people that sometimes, and in the past it was people that were retired, and right now people that are moving here that are younger, that I have young kids that are bringing up a family. So nearshoring in this country is amazing. It's actually one of the greatest things. It's for any company that really is looking to reduce costs, but keep up the quality. And as I said, the cultural element is really important. While there are a lot of differences and there may be some clashes, where you would need somebody that is boots on ground, like somebody that can manage that stuff. But the greatest things that bring are greater than some little issues that you can manage. So yeah, nearshoring is for any company that wants to keep the quality on the service and that actually would just like have their clients not even noticing that you're doing anything different. Now, don't get me wrong, Miriam, because when I talk to this about this with some of my friends, um, the question is, well, this can be done everywhere by anybody. Yes and no. And I know that the Mexican culture is known as well for the great sense of humor and for the ahorita, mañana, or in 5 minutes, which, if you haven't heard it, it really means it could be in one moment, in 10 minutes,
But
tomorrow,
you don't know exactly
or
when.
never. Exactly. And you do need, in order to get the best out of the nearshoring, which is the cost reduction, but as well the satisfaction of your client improved, you do need a company that actually has a track record on how to manage those things and how to get you work ethics that are world class. That wherever you are, this type of work, it's actually acceptable and above and beyond. And you can find that in Puerto Vallarta. So that's basically what Nearshore is about. And it could be for medical centers. You have a collections department, come to Mexico. If
Yeah.
you'd like customer service department, that is going to work for you as well. Internet has become more reliable. Um, there's more software now available. Miriam, you probably remember this, and you have to remember there's a lot of technology that existed before, but it was not as good as it is
No, it was
nowadays,
complicated. Yeah. A
right?
lot of lagging, a lot of delays, a lot of yeah, or you had to pay for them like higher
Yes.
expense, not such an affordable price like right now, right?
Uh-huh.
So yes, right now, like you mentioned, the internet here is actually high quality, high speed. We have no problem, no lagging, no delays. We have been working remotely for different companies for a while, and we can rely on the internet, no problem here where we are located, right? So,
Yes.
and what, yeah, I was gonna mention precisely because you were saying kind of like the departments that could work as a nearshore operation. That's another situation or question that I get. But what is it really that we can have over there in a nearshore operation or a nearshore office? Is it just for maybe customer service? Because that's like the first thing that people think, right? Or can we do what can we do from far away? And that was one of the first when I first started working in this remote environment. I had to break down so many like walls in my mind
Yes.
because I thought it was just like through the phone or like answering the
Mhm.
phone and that's all that we can do. But tell us what other things aside from just customer service or any other thing that involves just answering the phone
Mhm.
can be done in a nearshore operation because maybe that is also not a misunderstanding, but like
Yes.
just like putting something into a box so that we can understand. But we have a great possibility, right?
Yes. It's basically could be really everything. And that could be back office positions. Like, for example, if you need somebody to take care of administrative things, like bookkeeping,
Yeah.
uh, actually, even finances. And it's incredible how finances can be done. There's great software, QuickBooks, and pretty much down here, at least with us in Profinder International, we know how to use all these systems. We understand some of the processes. Um, so it could be sales departments. It could be, well, customer service is the most common, but really it could be AR, accounts receivables. It could be doc collection. It could be pretty much anybody that really does is not required to be on site in the office in the US or Canada. We do have some clients that are attorneys, and we have helped with some legal assistants that work, very close with paralegals in the U.S. and with attorneys, helping them putting together cases, always supervised, and only when it's possible the participation of these people, right? And really, I think it can be anything that can be trained on and that can actually be documented. So at least that's the way that we work, and that has been very successful because then we're able to train staff as the company is growing. And basically, you know what? Here's one thought. A lot of people think that nearshoring is to giving more work to the company, right? It's like, oh, cool, here's your new staff, manage them remotely. A real nearshore operation is a solution, or should be a solution, not
That is
another thing to worry about.
Yes, that was exactly my next question, right? Because
Mhm.
of course, yeah, it's like getting a new toy or a new car. Oh yeah, it's amazing the new car, but now you gotta pay for the services, and now you gotta pay for this and that and that. So, in nearshoring, what would be just your top one advice when looking for a company or trying to do it by yourself? In setting up a nearshoring operation? Like, can you do it on your own, or what would you recommend? What is your number one advice,
Mhm.
aside from, oh yes, come down here with your every all of your equipment and just put people working for you? What is the number one advice that you would give them?
I guess it will start from what is the plan of the company? If the company has time and somebody available to grab their family and life, move to Mexico and adapt here, will you learn it? Absolutely. Would it take you a long time? I would imagine that. So if in your company you have, or somebody in your organization that you trust, that will probably learn some Spanish, learn the culture, move down here, live down here for a long time, get advice, at least if you're not going to have a company do this for you, at least get some advice in the right places. Listen, it's possible. Will you see the advantages of nearshoring real quick? I don't think so. If what you want is the actual solution and the cost reductions and the increasing satisfaction, increasing profitability, I would completely suggest to go with a company that has a track record of doing this. Because you won't have to go through the red tape of working in a new country. Mexico is amazing, but it does a way of you that you have to navigate through. And it's not impossible, but it's not easy. And it will take you a lot of learning. And it could be very frustrating. Once you know, and if you have a team, a multidisciplinary team of experts in many areas, like we do in Profinder, we just make it faster for the companies to start to see the benefits. And but it all depends of what the company wants. If the company has the time to take to do all this, or if the company is busy and just wants to go through the process with the results the fastest as
Yeah.
possible, get the help. Um, and the second advice, get the whole solution.
Mhm.
Like there's a lot of companies that will offer you, we can hire you this person, we can sit that person next to other 100 people that are working for something else. But is that what you want? Is that the quality that you would like to have on the phone? I- is that what you are hoping to get? It's just a price reduction. Your clients will notice that. So a whole package, you can save money while at the same time do it even better. And setting up an operation that actually can pass the test of time would be my advice. If you're going to go through the investment and to try this out, do it right. So you can
Yes,
actually, you know,
totally.
go through it in many months, years, decades, whatever it is. And I think that's where it's going to be even residual benefits down the line. You will feel some right away, but there will be more the more you do it. Hmm.
And when you say like the full solution, that's when we introduce or we take advantage of the concept of a BPO, right? So
Yes.
business process outsourcing in a nearshore setting. So in a country that is close to your original country, where you have your original or first operation. So when you say the full solution, you mean because this is something that is important sometimes to differentiate, right? There's
Hmm.
one thing such as staffing
Hmm.
services, which is okay, yes, I will hire you for whatever you need or whatever position you need. But then they're yours and you can figure out what to do with them, how to
Yes.
train them, whether they show up or not. We're not responsible for their performance. In a business process outsourcing or the full solution, I think that's what makes the difference, right? So
Hmm.
we are trying to actually help out the clients that we have, not just providing or helping them find the top talent that they're looking for, but helping them with the management, with the development, the training, sometimes even helping document processes, like you mentioned at the beginning. So this is the part that makes sometimes complicated to explain what we do because of
Yes.
the idea of, well, you just hire people for them and then whatever they do with them, it's their business. But no, we are there for our clients from day one until the person that decides to continue somewhere else goes, right?
Hmm.
So I think if you could like maybe explain a little bit more about the difference between that staffing and the business process outsourcing process, that would be better, like the BPO.
Hmm. Hmm. You're so right, Miriam. You got it super spot on. So, staffing is basically you as a company tell me, I think I need this. And I said, I think, because sometimes the companies request things that they're not really going to be used, but sound really good. Like, oh, I want somebody with 10 years of experience, master's degree, college degree, and all these degrees and certifications. And maybe they have, or the person that is in charge of giving me the requirements or ask the requirements to hire somebody do not understand fully what the position does, right? There's so much going on in a company, and having an HR department, it really is for companies that are a little larger, right? That have a little bit more volume etc. So not everybody has this HR department who actually can profile a job vacancy and understand exactly what are the functions of that position, what are the daily tasks, and really why are you wanting a certification or not. So in a staffing solution, if you do have an HR department and you have everything ready and understand exactly what you need, it could work. However, the full solution, especially when you're working in a different country, is that the profile that you're sending in the US or Canada may not be exactly the one that you should be looking for in Mexico. Because there's different types of certifications, there are some equivalents, but they're not the same kind. And it could be very frustrating for both you as a client looking for a staffing solution and the staffing company to try to figure out where to find the, the person that you want. So that ends up being, in my opinion, very messy. Because as well, if you have, let's imagine that you say, I'd like to hire a virtual assistant, which is a really, really common job. And then we are going to go ahead and do it. But you will need somebody that is ready to train that person. Many times when people or companies go and hire staff and you find the staff for them, they are sitting in a desk for hours with nobody to train them on anything because everybody's busy. If you don't have a trainer specifically in your company, most likely you are not going to use that first day or the first month purposefully. It would be very messy. Um, Somebody that could be really good could actually interpret that you don't have your department properly done, and you just immediately right there, you can diminish the productivity that that person is going to bring in. Typically, an employee, when they show up to, or you show up as an employee to an organization, you kind of eyeball, right? Like how much do I need to do to impress? If you notice that that company does not have a trainer or a process to actually bring somebody into the organization properly, then that person immediately is almost like a point game, 10 points away.
Yeah.
Bye. Because then they don't need to do much to impress because this company do not have everything in order. Not because the company does not want to have everything in order, but because they don't have the time. They haven't got to it. They don't have the capacity. They don't have a department created. They grew up so fast that they didn't have time to put all the structure. So the whole solution with the business process outsourcing is because a client calls and says, "Listen, Zuly, Miriam, everybody in PFI, we need a customer service department." All right. The first question that we're going to ask you is what is the volume of phone calls? Who's calling you? How often? What type of tasks is right now your department doing? And then while we do this analysis and we actually create a manual for your processes as company, then we're able to profile the team that we are going to be needing. We will determine with some metrics how many people do we need to actually supply you with the correct amount of service. You in a company, you don't want your phone to ring and nobody to answer, right? And and it's arguable right now. If you can tell me, Sully, yeah, but right now there's a lot of customer service lines that just take you in an IVR in every department, but no human answer you.
But that is frustrating on the client side. I've been there,
Exactly, exactly.
and I go through the whole tree, and I just don't get the answer that I'm
Anywhere.
looking for.
Exactly.
Mm.
So if you as a company, and right now it's kind of easy to have a very, a good marketing advantage, which is customer service, because everybody right now has dropped their quality and the standards. But the clients expect really good quality, you know? So when companies want to take advantage of that and they care about the customer service department, then you call us and you say, I want every phone call to be answered. These are my objectives. These are my values as company. This is my mission. This is my vision. This is my culture. We absorb all of it. We create manuals and then we hire train, manage, and oversee the whole operation of that department in alignment to what the client's culture is, goals and objectives. And I think the whole solution is not even just creating the team. I think the whole solution comes with wanting transparency and you know, accountability, where you can track the actual results of overseeing that operation and ensure that it's not just to check mark, oh yeah, did everybody showed up to work? Yes, they did. Checked. Did everybody sat down after lunch? They only took 30 minutes of lunch. Check. Uh, it's more than that. It's actually to take advantage, full advantage of an operation where the client does not need to worry about it. They just need to say what they want, and we will go through documentation processes, review and auditing, training, constant training, and proper management. That's the whole solution. And I think that's the part that I feel more proud of. Uh, and that's why it's more difficult to explain for sure that question, what do you do? Um, because it's really the whole solution. I think being on the other side of the table, in having a lot of experience with businesses, you know that when you're a business owner, you do need a lot of support. Sometimes you just feel that you're on your own. Sometimes it feels scary. Sometimes it feels great. It's kind of like goes up and down.
Yeah.
And having in your team this company that says, you know what, we got this for you. You go and do what you're great at. We're good at managing, hiring, and training, and make sure to get to the goals of this department. You go, you do what you need to do in order to grow your business, make the revenue. That feels great. And and that's exactly when in every direction that you see it, it feels great because you're employing people in an industry that is not related to tourism, that gives them a lot of great opportunities. And we're helping companies to grow. We're helping companies to move faster, to not feel that they are on their own, either business owners or sometimes people that are managing those companies that feel helpless. And that's basically what nearshore in the whole solution looks like in my eyes. And I think in your eyes as well, because we've been doing this for a while.
Yes. That's right. Yeah, so I mean, I hope this has helped to everyone that is listening or watching us. Make a little bit clear what it is, what nearshoring is, and what a BPO versus a staffing solution on the nearshore format is. So, Zuli, tell us if anyone who is listening or watching is interested or has questions, where can they reach out to us, and we'll gladly answer any of their questions and or comments that you leave on our social networks. Where can they find
Do
us?
you know what? The best place is LinkedIn. Just look for Zuly Murphy and Miriam Sanchez. We'll be there. Connect with us. We're offering a lot of information and some tips here and there have worked for us, and hopefully it works for you as well. We've been doing this for a while, and we know so many of the roadblocks, and I think we're ready to answer questions that you have. And if anybody of the people that are listening, uh, they have a question or they have a topic that they would like us to go into, please let us know. This is exciting, and yes, we're here to help you.
Yes. Well, Zuli, it was a pleasure finally getting this project started, and I hope the information here is useful for all of the people out there that is interested in different business topics. Today we talked about nearshoring and BPO services. So we hope to see you here. Please follow us, find us on LinkedIn, like Zuli mentioned, and we'll be posting several episodes and more content on this podcast, the Business Whisperer. Hope to see you and hear from you soon. Julie, thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Miriam. Likewise, and talk to you very soon.
Bye bye.